Okay, I'd like to welcome everybody to the April 30th meeting of the Trumbull Housing Authority. If you would join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic
for which it stands,
one nation, under God,
indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Barbara, could you call the roll, please?
Kathy McGannon.
Here.
Laurel Anderson.
Here.
Maureen Bova.
Here.
Charlene Peterson.
Here.
And Sarah Flieger.
Okay, Sarah is not here. Okay. First order of business, approval of the special meeting of March 21st. That was a very quick meeting. It's a very short recording of the minutes. Could I have a motion to approve them?
Charlene moves to approve them.
In a second?
Laurel.
Okay. Any changes or corrections to them? I corrected them before I sent them to you, I think, so. All right, can I take approval by unanimous consent? Thank you. All right, and then the regular meeting of March 26th.
Charlene moves to approve them.
Second,
Laurel.
Laurel. And again, can I take approval by unanimous consent?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Anybody on Bill for public comments? Do you see any? Nobody, and there's nobody there? Okay, it's a beautiful evening. People are probably out. Director of Finance, Dawn.
Good evening. I have a couple of things to report. There was a price increase on the back dumpster area for the driveways. We were going to do the entire driveway and then we were going to do the dumpster areas. They said if we're not going to do the entire driveway in the back of the congregate, that there would be an increase of $3,200 in addition to the original pricing of $4,000 to do the back of those dumpster areas. So that would be an increase of $3,200. That would bring it up to $7,200. So that would have to be approved before we could move forward. They are going to start the concrete sidewalk and the walkway. They just needed to know if we were going to move forward with the rest of that dumpster area with that increase in pricing. I told them that we were having a meeting this evening and that whatever you decide, I will let them know to move forward. We would have to pay half of that up front. They would then do the dumpsters and then we would give them the extra after that was finished. So up to you on how you would like to handle that. But if you want to discuss it, bring it up for a vote later. I don't know, or talk to Jason about it.
Oh, if
Right,
I'm not mistaken, the money we're using for rehab projects for Stern, I think we decided that that money cannot be used for the rear of the congregate. It doesn't have very much to do with Stern residents. Am I right in my recollection?
That's correct. We were going to treat it more of a loan for the congregate from our finances. So it would be a loan for the congregate to give back to the Stern Village.
Okay, so I notice year to date, and it may simply be a timing issue, but the accounts payable that the congregate owes Stern is back up again.
Yes.
So I would honestly not be in favor of another loan from Stern to the congregate again. But it appears, at least according to this this cash flow that we got, that the congregate is pretty ripe with money. Their cash balance was almost double that of the village. Now, again,
Mhm.
this was as of the end of February, so I don't know what March and April brought, but in my opinion, if the congregate has enough funds to pay for this 100% themselves without taking an additional loan from Stern, then, and if there's some efficiency of cost that we're getting because they're going to be there and doing the project anyway, then I would not have a problem with it, but I kind of do have a problem with Stern paying yet again for something for the congregate.
Yeah, I would say as far as what from me weighing in here is how much efficiency are you getting if the cost is basically doubled because you weren't taking the rest of it? I'm guessing the materials are completely different, right? You're going from sidewalk to asphalt. Although I thought the pads would probably be concrete as well, but I don't, that's outside of my pay grade. I don't know that they will end up having the $7,000 freely available to pay. It's probably something that could be paid over time if that's something the board can swallow. But again, as Laurel has said, at least is what I recommended in the past, and I'm sure Laurel would agree, is to just flatly give it and add it to the balance is probably not something you want to make a habit out of doing unless you absolutely have to, I guess.
The materials are different. You are talking asphalt and then going to the pads, you have to be concrete. So you are talking different materials, and it would be just about double the price that they have previously quoted us.
Okay, and so it is basically then, Don, it's sort of a standalone project.
That's correct.
Okay,
So do we let it stand alone and see if we can get it included in a small cities grant, which we were going to do for all the paving back there? Do we just treat the back of the congregate as one project?
You would do that for a small cities grant for that this spring
I mean, I
or
can't
summer.
guarantee we're gonna get it, but
Can't guarantee you're gonna get it.
well,
No.
if it's not gonna cost us anything more, if they come back and do it 4 months from now, then I'm gonna suggest that the congregate actually put some money into reserves over time, over the next couple of months, $2,000 a month, save it up. Pay for it itself. And I think you all know how I feel about this payable that never, ever seems to go away.
It never,
No.
and it won't.
And honestly, if we've got an extra $7,000, I'd rather put it towards a village unit and rehab it and get our vacancy rate down. I mean, I don't want the village to any longer have to kind of subsidize constantly to its own detriment. Anyway, that's how I feel.
Okay.
I agree with you, Laurel.
I would agree with it, and I think if I know the small city grant was used to pave the Kennedy Center. It's been used for projects like that. I'm not sure. I think we missed out on the small city grant back in the fall. So let me talk to Rena and see when that application has to be in and see if this would be a project that would fit.
Okay, can I suggest, and I don't think we need a vote to do this, but can I suggest that Paulette, you and Jason kind of work it out so that at the end of every month, if there's any additional cash left in the congregate coffers, the $2,000 of it goes into your reserves, into, that savings account, or if there's another one, put it in a different savings account. I don't really care. But if you do $2,000 a month over 4 months, you've paid off the project. The congregate has paid the project itself.
I think just to kind of chime in, there's there's no way that Congregate generates $2,000. I know it has that money in cash because of the ebbs and flows. It just, it never has generated that cash. To expect it to all of a sudden do it, I don't know if that's realistic. I get why it seems like it could, because it looks like it has all this money. But it's the ebb and flow of things. I think we'll find as we get to the end of the year, you're going to get back to the minimum balance amount, which does seem like a lot, but it's in essence a fact of setting the loan with Village to a different level. I know it's kind of hard to, at one point, the loan was 300,000. Now the earmark for that loan is 350 because we wanted $50,000 as a buffer in the Congregate account, roughly. I'm talking rough specifics. Congregate never generated that $50,000 in cash to get it there. It just didn't pay Village for a couple months. So it's all been a reflection of the loan. I don't know that Congregate has generated, maybe by the end of this year, they would have generated a couple $1,000s. We'll say 3 or 4 for the entire year. That maybe they would say they could contribute into reserves. That's how close Congregate kind of operates. So I wouldn't expect it, is my point. Maybe I'll be surprised. You know, we have rent increases coming up in the summer, all that kind of stuff that maybe, you know, changes the outlook, but I would temper my expectations there.
And
Okay,
can I
so-
just, can I add to Jason also that we just had to fix the elevator at the Congregate? That's going to be a couple of thousand. We're having the lease renewed and looked at by the attorney, so those are also gonna be costs that are incurred and coming due like within the next month or so. So I think we are going to go up and down and flow, whatever we call it. We will be close by the end of the year.
Okay, Dawn, is that project in the back, an emergency? Is it vital? Or is it simply a wish list just because?
It's not a wish list, but it's not an emergency. I would say like within the next year or two, we could plan on getting that done. That would be fine. But it's not a dire need right now.
Sidewalk?
No, dumpster area. So if we can plan on looking at that for some kind of grant or something like that, then we could wait another year or two to get that done.
Can I say something? Yeah. About the dumpsters, when I went back there, there's 3, you know, they're sinking. But that's where we're having the problems with the rodents. And we have to keep calling Erie. That bill goes up every month. Mice, rats, raccoons. If it's a matter of, what is it, $3,300? I don't know how, I mean, you don't want to take it from there. But as well as having the sidewalk and the ramp done, that garbage should be done, or you're gonna have the same problems we're having now. It's sinking. They're from the woods. I mean, they're going to put things in there that will prevent maybe from all the rodents coming. Because at one meeting, talk about all the rodents that were going in the Congregate. I mean, I know you say we don't have to have it done, but if you're gonna have the man here to have it done, then he's going to do the sidewalk and he's gonna do the ramp. I think you're being penny wise and pound foolish not to have it done all at one time. And if we have to get the money from the Congregate, as Laurel says, a couple of $1,000 a month, which will go already for the elevator and for the lawyers. I don't know. I kind of think to keep it sanitary and clean, we should be doing.
Well, I understand your point, Maureen, but if I'm not mistaken, we cannot use the Stern. I don't even know what to call it anymore. The refund money that we got. I believe we cannot use that for the walkway leading up to the front door of the Congregate. Now, that we're going to pay for, and we know exactly where that money's coming from, and it's not the Congregate. So we already approved it, and that will be coming out of Stern.
But I know we're not supposed to be taking that of Stern. Then
No.
the only thing
But it'll be
This
coming
is-
out of regular Stern operating. It can't come out of the grant.
The sidewalk, what about the sidewalk? Yes,
Sidewalk.
I'm saying, that's the only thing we'll do. Well, then we can't take the ramp out of the sidewalk.
No, the
Wow.
sidewalk in the front is coming out of that refund. The sidewalk leading up to the congregate can't be covered by the Stern refund money.
Right, that's what I just said. So the only thing that the Stern money is going to cover is the sidewalk. Not going into the congregate.
Right, but who's going to pay for the sidewalk leading up to the front door of the congregate? Not the congregate.
We look through this every month. They never pay for anything.
Let me clarify, Laurel, that statement.
Okay.
Now that those funds are in Stern Village, they're all the same. They're all equally supposed to be for used by Stern Village's assets, residents. I mean, it's the residents' money, right? They have the same restrictions. So there's not additional restrictions because they used to come from the grant. Those grant proceeds reimbursed funds that were already in village. If that makes any sense. So they end up coming back to the same pot of money. So I would say any cost that does not directly benefit the village residents is technically not an eligible use of funds. I
Right.
say technically because it still does kind of happen. You guys aren't alone in this kind of environment that you have properties that poorly perform over others, but you have to be cognizant of the fact that it should take an extreme, and we'll say a vote by the board, an emergency type thing to use funds for other than the village's direct benefit.
Right, so at, I believe the last board meeting, we all agreed that replacing the sidewalk that leads directly from the main sidewalk that Stern is replacing to the front door of the congregate is not a Stern Village expense.
It is not a 100% Stern Village, but we had said that staff uses it, as well as any to and from vendors, contractors in. So we could split it and reduce the cost per se of what Congregate would have to fund. That was
Okay.
what we had argued, but the back isn't the same.
Right, and so your comment just now, congregate has to fund, is Stern has to fund. Because we just went through this whole conversation about congregate not having even $2,000 a month.
Right.
So any expense for this project is bottom line Stern, whether it's Stern coming out of the reimbursed funds or Stern adding to the money that this congregate already owes them.
Right.
It's still going to be paid by Stern. So all my point is we're already putting out money for the congregate for this project. So I'm just kind of feel like adding anything at this point that we don't absolutely need right this second. Let's find another way to pay for it.
I agree. We don't
Okay.
need a vote on this, right? We're just not going to, do we need, we didn't vote to. We did. We authorized $4,000 for the dumpster pads.
Right, and now there's an additional $3,200 to add to that if you want to have it done, so if you choose not to increase funding by $3,200.
Then take it 4,000 out too.
Just, yeah, you have to think.
And then they'll look to.
I'm just trying to figure out if we need to take a vote to disallow the dumpster pads.
I don't think so, Kathy. I could be wrong, but I mean, I think we were just being asked to vote to approve.
Yeah, and we're just not gonna lose the funding. So, shouldn't.
I'm sorry, Dawn, I didn't hear you.
I said, we're not, yeah, you voted to authorize the use of it, we're just not going to use the funding for
Okay.
that.
Okay, makes sense to me.
Okay. So
Anything-
the next, yeah, do
Go
you want me
ahead.
to continue? I'm
Yes,
sorry. Do a couple more. New congregate lease is at the attorney for review. And DOT has also had some input, so I'm coordinating efforts between DOT, the DOH, not DOT, DOH and the attorney to get that, because there's specific language that has to be in there for congregate itself. And then the next thing to go out would be the tenant selection plan, and as soon as we get it back from the attorney, those will go to the board for review. For the tenant selection plan for the congregate. And then the last thing is, I know you're going to be discussing the budget. If there's a possibility that we may want to add a line for the tenants activity fund, there are activities going on here at the village and at the congregate. And I would like you to consider maybe opening a line item for activity funds specifically for the tenants. Right now, they do some of the fundraising themselves and use that. But there are times that they could use a little extra for that. And I have talked to Jason about that and just kind of keep things. We did have petty cash at one time. I don't believe in petty cash because that's kind of used for anything and there's no accountability. At least this way that we would have a line item specific to monitor costs for some of the tenant activities that go on here. And that's
Dawn,
it.
how much? Dawn, how much were you thinking?
I was thinking $1,000.
Okay.
If we can swing that, but no more than that to start and see how that goes.
did you
We
say
are-
1,000?
1,000, yeah. We are buying some supplies for the tenants and some of the activities that go here. It would just make it a little cleaner, that's what that is going. Just a suggestion. I think it looks good for the state that we have a line item for tenants, that we're investing in some of the activities for them. But that's up to you. I just thought I would bring that forward. And that's the end of my report, unless there's any questions.
I thought we had an amount, a monthly amount that would go for programs.
We have something at the congregate, right, Jason?
Yes, the congregate.
Just at the
Yes.
congregate, so this is for Stern.
Yes.
I'm sorry,
Yes.
I was in the
No.
wrong building.
No.
And you can decide on that at the budget and, move forward with that. It's just a suggestion from our corner of the world over here.
Okay.
Thank you.
Anyone have questions for Dawn?
Dawn, I have one question for you. How much did the repair of the elevator end up costing?
I will get it, we just got it on the
He's got the bill.
Was it 2,000?
Yeah, well, a little more than that.
Yeah, I think it was a little more than 2,000.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, great. I think somewhere in my memory, I had remembered 10,000, so I was a little freaked out.
No, it's gonna cost 10,000 to fix within they have this mechanical that runs the elevator, that costs $10,000.
Okay, thank you.
Oh my God, it just gets worse.
So
These expenses
there's
just.
a,
She's coming.
there's a two-part to it because we
Right.
have the elevator. And we just got these both in today, so my apologies. We had, Coney was 2671.61. And then we had Strathmore because we had to call in the electrician.
Right.
And that was 322,
Yeah, that's not bad.
not bad. So it was, just about $3,000 total to get that elevator fixed.
2993.61.
Thank you, 2993.61. Was seen correct.
Not fine.
For me, the sound coming from Stern is very choppy. Is anybody else having choppy sound or is it? Yeah. I'm getting like every other word from you guys.
If I come closer, is that better?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, so for Coney, it was $2,671.61. And then from Strathmore, the electrician that we had to have come in, it was $322 to
Okay.
install the 3 fuses that went out for the elevator.
Okay.
Thank
So
you, Dawn.
Thank you.
Report on the congregate. I'm not going to put our new temporary congregate person on the spot and make her do a report. So I'll turn it to Paulette and she can fill us in on what's going on at the congregate.
It's the same story with the food service. So I'm trying to make, schedule a meeting with Urata. It's just the same thing with the food. There's no change at all. Other than that, I have to announce that for the congregate fire panel, it's looking good for the state to pass it, for us to get that grant. So, so it's looking good. So right now, we're gonna go with the 3 bids we had. I'm going with Barnum because Barnum Engineers is actually the first one that actually knows that building in and out. So, and they were the most, I should say, least expensive. It was close to like $100,000 to fix that emergency fire panel. And he was, and like I said, Barnum is very much aware of the congregate because they were the first to be with the emergency fire panel. It was Barnum. It was Barnum. So I just have to send a few things to Kenny Fisher and Schaffer. Maybe I do it on Friday because we're doing these recertifications and we do 23 and 25 per day. So so more than likely I get all that information to Penny on Friday.
I do
Nice
have a
job,
report.
Paulette.
Thank you, thank you.
I think it's in her office, maybe. I do have a report on the congregate's work orders and stuff, so if you guys want that. So we have, since January 2024, 6 open work orders that the guys are already working on. We do have 3 units available there, but 2 of them already are scheduled for lease signing. So we have a lease signing on May 1st and another one on June 15th. June 15th. And then the last apartment just opened today. So she moved out today. So then I will schedule with our guys to make sure that they rehab that. And then we should hopefully have that ready for June 1st as well. It's pretty easy, very clean in there. They did a wonderful job. The family that was there did a wonderful job cleaning up the apartment. So Renee, I spoke to Renee a little bit earlier and he said like touch up paint and just making sure that things look good. Appliances are working and they should be ready for rental. So that's what's going on at the congregate in terms of work orders and stuff.
Well, I would like to tell the rest of the board that until we have somebody start at the congregate as congregate manager, that our own clerk, Barbara Crandall, has offered to work at the congregate, answer the phones, make the calls in the morning. I think she had a move out today. She had an EMS, but she works for EMS too. So it was good that she was there, but I just want to thank her for stepping up and agreeing to work at the congregate until a new person starts. So we appreciate it, Barbara. Thank you. Okay, Lisa, you are up.
Yes, Barbara, I want to thank you also so much. So much. You just don't know how much I want to thank you. I appreciate you more than you'll ever know. Okay, we had an informational presentation on the Live Well program that was held on March 28th at 10:30 at the Village and 11:30 at the Congregate. The Live Well program is a 6-week workshop designed to help individuals manage chronic conditions. And as a result of the presentation, we had 6 people at the Village sign up and 4 people from the congregate signed up for the workshop. So I'm expecting to try to start this up sometime in June. I'm in the process of coordinating it now with the person in charge of the program. The mobile food pantry was at the Village of Jewish Family Services on April 11th. There were approximately 70 people that received food. There are 97 residents currently signed up. The next date scheduled is May 23rd. Also, the Senior Medicare Patrol program did a presentation on Tuesday, April 16th at 11 at the Village and 12 noon at the Congregate. The Senior Medicare Patrol program is responsible for informing seniors how to detect, prevent, and protect themselves from Medicare fraud and abuse. I'm going to have them come back probably in the fall again, because there's always Medicare frauds and scams that are going on. There's always something new coming out. So I'm going to have them come back out in the fall. SWACA is coming on the 14th of May at 10:30 at the Village to do services and programs that are offered by SWACA. Also, we have the Senior Paw Project. One of our residents had a very sick cat, and we at the congregate, and we were trying to find some type of services pro bono for her because she could not afford to have the cat serviced at the vet. So I spoke to a gentleman by the name of Chris Barrett at the Senior Paw Project. And the Senior Paw Project was created to address the needs of senior pet owners that are 55 years and older who are struggling to keep or care for their animals. Some of the things that they do are annual examinations, all core vaccinations as appropriate, fecal parasite testing, preventative and infectious disease blood tests, additional flea and tick or heartworm prevention, standard medications for short-term treatment, nail trims, anal gland expression, and prescription food. So, I figured this would be a good program because we do have pets on property, although we're not encouraging and we're not accepting pets in the future. For those that have pets on property, they can get the proper care and vaccinations and things of that sort. They also have a pet pantry, food pantry for food for animals. And they also have prescription. I didn't know they had prescription animal food. So we could do a pantry for people that can't afford the food for their animals. They also have bird seed, and I didn't find out about the other animals, but he did say that they do have bird feed too. But I know another resident has a different type of animal. I forgot what it was, but I think it would be a good program for the residents. So I'm meeting with him probably in June to go over it to see when we can start. He needs at least 5 residents that need to be serviced at a time. It's just like a mobile food pantry, but it's a mobile vet. Very nice gentleman that is more than willing, and he works with housing authorities all throughout Connecticut to help seniors. And that's my report.
Thank you. Jackie, do you have more? You gave the,
Yes, I actually, I have, the Village,
okay,
sorry, Dawn over there. Okay, so for, the Village specifically, we have 14 units, that are open right now. That makes us, at a 7.53% of, unoccupied units. We are at a 92% of occupied units. There are the last 2 people on our wait list from 2022. There should be going through interviews now. We have one that has the per policy 5 days to respond. And then we have another interview scheduled on May 3rd, and that will be the last of that wait list. So then we'll be working on our new wait list, hopefully sooner than August, but we do have up until August 31st to send out those letters for the to send out those letters for the applicants, to give them their position number, their control number, so they can also keep track of where they are on the list. So that will be coming up. Do we just, like Paulette mentioned, we have so many research that we're doing right now, that will happen right after we're finished with that process. I do want to mention that out of the 14 units, there are 3 units that are ready to be housed. 2 of them are already scheduled for people for the last 2 that are on our wait list. So hopefully that will also increase. Speaking about our units, our maintenance men have been in the units rehabbing them. And they just finished the floor. I wish I could show you pictures, but I forgot to do that before this meeting, but they transformed what one of our units was. So the lady that was in there, she had lived there for about 20 something years. They redid the flooring, they put new shelves up, they painted the walls, brought it back to life, and it looks really great. So all of the funding that we had asked for about some of these updates that we need is really going into Wealth Worth, and the apartments are looking really nice. So at the next board meeting, I will have those pictures for you guys to see. And then I spoke about our wait list and about our letters. So we're hoping that that process is done. But as I mentioned, we have until August 31st to send out those letters. And that is my report.
Thank you. Anyone have questions for Jackie?
Just one quickie question. I think you guys used up the 25,000 that we had authorized for you from the what should I call that? I'm not even sure what to call it anymore. The refund. Are you waiting until you get the 3 bids on the 3 apartment renovation before you draw down any more money, or are there any other projects that you can get to us, like for the next board meeting? You know, smaller, like another $25,000 shot or something.
Kevin Over is waiting for response on Apple Committee. He needs a response by May 1st. Concerning the rehab of the 3 units. So the vendor is Pillar Painting LLC, and he's gonna do the 3 rehab of those units. So he needs a response from us, from the board, stating that for us to give us the green light to move forward to do these rehab. So that money is not being used for that, and 25,000, am I correct, Jason?
That's correct.
Right. We should have said.
So we haven't used the 25,000 that we authorized?
We'll use it for the flooring,
Yeah.
Yeah,
for the flooring.
to the flooring for the other apartments.
For the other
yeah.
one.
That's separate.
Yes,
separate.
25,000 is separate from what we're asking Pillar to do. He's not
Yes.
touching that.
We're not touching it. So right now, he sent me an email stating that, he needs a response after this board meeting, so I can let him know tomorrow when for, to start doing the rehab of those 3 units.
Okay. Paula, it's a little hard for us to hear you for some reason. I think I got the general gist, but so the $25,000 in the treasurer's stuff that you did that for unit rehab work already. So that 25,000 that we first gave you is gone, right?
No, we still have money left, the 25,000 is for the flooring of some of the rehabbing, that made us put the floors down. So that money is not used for the visual rehab that's totally separate monies.
Yeah, so when Paulette had asked for that money was for specifically for our maintenance men to do the rehab. The rehabs that we're going out to bid for, that's gonna be a separate amount of money that we're gonna be asking about.
Right, but that's like $100,000 or something, right?
Yes, $80,000 and $250. So, the thing is, Hiller needs the first payment installment and with a date to start.
How much does he want?
Come closer.
Let me try.
Yeah, I'm getting like every third word.
How much does he want? That-
This way.
Hold on. Okay, so Hiller is asking for a first payment installment and a date to start the program. So Kevin Boger needs to get a response from the board stating, you know, when can we start? When can we get the money to give to Hiller to start the project?
Okay, could we back up though a little bit? So you got 3 bids? Kevin helped you get 3 bids?
That's correct.
And the one you're looking for approval for is the lowest of the 3 bids?
That's correct.
And these are all vendors that Kevin has vetted?
That's correct, yes.
Okay, are you going to make a formal proposal to us? Because we haven't, I think this is maybe the first we've seen that you
It is.
finalize this.
That's correct. First time.
Okay, so how much is the sort of winning bid?
The bid is $118,250
For 3 apartments.
for 3 apartments.
Okay, and are you all happy with the, you know, the work that he's, whatever?
Yes.
I mean, is it pretty much same to same, like all 3 bids were bidding on the same work and,
Yes, and the thing is, like, the house, 252,000 for the same scope of work.
yike?
That's somebody who really doesn't want the job, but they overbid so that you say, nah. So you need a vote from us to accept the bid from is it Hiller, you said?
HILLER Painting LLC.
I'm not getting any of this.
No, me either.
Hiller Painting,
There we go.
There we go.
okay,
Construction.
yeah.
All right. So could I have a motion from someone to approve the bid from Hiller for $118,250 for the renovation of 3 units?
Maureen is back there.
Make a motion to accept Mark Hiller's bid.
And I need a second.
Charlene seconds.
Charlene, you looked like you had a question. Do you?
So yeah, just, we got 3 bids. This is the best one. Somebody's thoroughly reviewed the bids.
Yep.
Yes,
Our
okay.
purchasing agent for the town.
Okay, and we're gonna pull permits if we need them and get them closed out if we need to pull permits, right?
That's correct.
Okay, all right. And then how long will it take to do the work? Do we know?
No, we do not, but I can ask Kevin tomorrow how long the project will be, how long.
Okay, all right.
They do understand the urgency. So I did all the walkthroughs with all 3 of the bidders that came in. Because just to clarify, we did get a scope of work by an architect done. So I did the first walkthrough with the architect. He came out and I specifically said what it was that we needed in it. Each unit is different from each other. So a lot of work needs to be done in another. Some needs wall knocking down because of, you know, there was an issue in there. So there was a lot of things that differentiated in each apartment. So when I did the walkthrough, he thoroughly wrote down all the notes and then he provided a scope of work, which then was provided to the 3 bidders. So then I walked with the 3 companies that came out to see the apartments. Then they produced the bids for Paulette. And then we were able to get, Kevin knew all of them actually and vetted them out for us. So we didn't have to go through that process.
Okay.
But yeah, so you guys know that kind of background.
Okay, and I apologize, I just don't remember. Did we approve the architect fee?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I totally don't remember.
3,700.
Okay.
And Jason, we have the 118,000 that we can approve this?
Correct.
All right, thanks.
You have to
Okay,
give them once we approve.
Oh, yeah,
Want to check start?
that's what that's what he said he wanted to know for the board to pass, and he would let me know everything else, so.
All right, okay.
But
So
you-
I know,
Maureen was asking about, if there was a need to put money down. So Paulette said that she's gonna get that information once the approval went through for today.
Okay.
All
I
right, so
think it would be really great if we had some kind of holdback at the end of the project.
Oh, wait, say that again, I'm sorry.
I think it would be great if we had some kind of holdback at the end of the project so that we make sure we get permitting, as Charlene said, we get COs, we get whatever we need before we make a final payment to the contractor.
Yeah, and that would all be done through me as well. So as the projects continue, I'll keep checking on what's going on, what's needed. If change orders need to happen, they'll go through some kind of formal, kind of process. So that way we're all aware of what's going on and what needs to be, and then it will be reported to you guys as necessary. So I'll be intertwined in all of that.
Okay.
I haven't
Okay,
seen this part of it, but sorry, I didn't mean to butt in. I assume with a contract of this magnitude, it's over $100,000, that there is an underlying like requisition process, right? There's going to be a contract that I guess is drawn up and to be acted on. I would hope and assume that, all that stuff is forthcoming. I don't know. Payment terms, as Laurel said, you have retainage and all that kind of stuff. That hopefully is part of the process. Again, it's over $100,000, and you typically wouldn't advance a large chunk of these funds unless it was again for original supplies purchased.
So Jackie, just FYI, Dan, at Town Hall in the Finance Department, I happen to be a clerk for the Police Station Building Committee, and I got to see firsthand how Dan did this kind of release of money and the documents he needed, which probably don't need to be as hardcore as what the town requires, but nonetheless, he had forms, he had a process, and I wonder if it might not be worth, he's a really great guy. I wonder if it wouldn't be worth, in fact, Don may know him already. But I wonder if it would be worth just seeing if you could sit down with him to try to see his process and,
Yeah,
It was a Dan Show.
she said, was it Dan Chopik?
no,
Dan
it's
Martin. Dan Martin.
yeah,
Dan Martin, sure. Yeah, I know Dan Martin.
I figured you did, yeah.
And does the architect go look at the bid to make sure that the scope of work that he proposed is included in the bid?
He did look at the bids, and then
Okay.
Kevin played a part in the bidding in which one we should go, so because the $265,000, that was out, and then the one he had after that, the third bid was even worse than the second. With the same scope.
Okay.
The only thing I worry about when that happens is the low bidder deliberately like bidding really low to get the job, and then that's where you get hit with the change orders. Oh, I can't do this, so I have to do that. But if Kevin knows all three of them and he didn't raise any red flags about the winner, then I trust Kevin. Kevin knows his stuff.
Yes, that's true. You're right, Mike. I'll schedule a meeting with Kevin, sometime next week and try to, get this going and we can give it the green light, to start the project.
Okay, so we have a motion to approve this bid and we have a second. Are there any other questions or can I move it to a vote? Can we take it by unanimous consent? Is there anybody who objects? Okay. All right, you've got your authorization, Paulette.
Thank you. The village CNA was emailed to the board members. I have a few questions that, Matthew, his name is from the CNA, that I have to send to him, and that will be sent out on Friday, of course, because of the research that we're doing now. Many of the rents went up for July first. We had a huge increase, I mean, a real huge increase from one resident because he disclosed, he did not let us know about his work history. So, it was a huge increase for him. When I say huge, I mean huge. So I guess he learned his lesson. Let's see, what else? The workers' compensation insurance increased, by $10,000. Right, Jason, with the news I gave you? Yes.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Which is really more than $10,000 if you went back 2 years. It's been
Right.
tripled, really. And they're claiming history.
Right.
In history. Insurance is just a new industry to print money. I don't know. It's like out of control
Right.
everywhere. All insurance policies, the average I'm seeing these days is like 16 to 18% a year now. It's just out of control.
There's a number of people who've said their homeowners insurance skyrocketed, their car insurance with nothing new, no accidents, no claims, nothing, also skyrocketed. So it's across the board.
Right.
And we had a couple of big claims on workers' comp, right?
Yeah. Yes, we had two.
We've two.
Mhm.
And one should never have happened.
Say that again, Karen?
One should not have been a workers' comp claim.
Sarah,
This
we
is
can't
true.
hear you.
Sarah, go ahead.
How long has it been since that was rebid?
You mean the insurance?
Yeah,
Oh, the renewal was done May 1st.
It's a new,
It's a new. It's a renewal.
We got dumped by our old company.
Yeah, we went, yeah, they don't, Brookshire, because of the two huge payouts, they cancel our insurance. Mhm.
Jason, do you have any, Jason, do you have any housing authorities in the state pool, the state insurance pool?
yeah, almost all of them.
Okay, is there generally a slight even diminution in the premiums, or is it just that they let you in if you get dropped in by everybody?
Well, I haven't seen, again, as an auditor, I'm a little bit behind, right? So I won't be seeing the stuff you're talking about now for a whole nother year, right? But even last round, which I'm auditing, it's been steady increases, nothing catastrophically large. The biggest change that we've seen, and this happened to you guys last year, is they unbundled things and they stopped spreading the claims across. And that hurt those that actually, and it made sense, but it hurt those that had a worse claim history than others. They didn't smooth it out as much as they used to. And that, again, it was supposed to hurt the big, like the Hartfords of the state, when really, I don't know, somehow it knocked you. I can't imagine you have claims that are above your size, but you have had a few claims. Again, it just goes to show, right? And I even say this on a personal note, like you don't necessarily make insurance claims unless you have to, because you know you're going to pay for it in the end. It's like a loan, right? You know, they just loan you the money to fix it, and eventually you'll even out, and then with insurance increases. So it's unfortunate that it's everywhere. But yes, almost, I would guess, close to 90% of the housing authorities have property and liability through the state plan. That's not workers' comp, though. Workers' comp is typically separately bid. And this increase was even a surprise to me, honestly, because it's a pretty substantial increase. You're not required to keep them, you can continue to shop and go out, but you needed to get somebody. Cause or else you had no coverage, right? And that was a huge risk.
So Paulette, can I suggest to you, I realize we're, tomorrow we're renewing. It's kind of late to do it now, but next year when your renewal is up, could you talk with Jason and check out the state pool? Just for the heck of it, to see if we can save any money.
We are in the state pool, we in the trust.
Okay.
So
Then
we
we're
always-
doubly messed, yeah, okay.
You basically got
See.
in the trust at the worst possible time. Because they're evaluating you at your very recent history. And you're
That's
basically
correct.
required to be evaluated to get in, right? So it's kind of like showing your worst side and saying, please have me.
Right. Actually, tenants have, the people are breaking in their cars. And one of them is Maureen Bover. Her car got, broken in over the weekend, last weekend. So she is it was 4 residents' cars were, was break-ins there. And what they would do, they had like the same MO. They would go in the glove compartment, take everything out and put on the front seat. But they took her coins for bingo. So, but that's what they're doing. So I'm gonna call the police department, see can they do, this canvas the area. And see what's going on. That's why we need the cameras. So we got the 3 bids for the cameras. So right now that, the grant is due May 31st. The grant writer is ready to get the 3 bids. She has the history of Trumbull housing. She has everything to get the green light to let it go. So right now I'm just waiting for the proposals to come by email and just take it from there. Because right now it's getting bad, and as we get closer to summer, it's probably even worse. And the AED, for the AFib, we can purchase with the, money, the refund money, right? Right, Jason? That's what you told me now? Oh, that's a concrete, but here we can.
Yes.
Right? Yes. Okay, so I know one AFib is, close to $3,000. $3,000. Right? $3,000. And that's with the help of the State Department, the Trumbull Health Department. They gave us their vendor and, so Jackie called and, is close to $3,000. Huh?
But they have the under that.
Okay, under that, okay, so we're gonna have, let's get other, bidders there. And I believe that's it. Yeah.
Sure.
Okay. Treasurer's report.
Okay, for the 9-month period ending March 31, 2024, the authority had an operating gain before capital activity and depreciation of $40,630, of which $37,353 is attributable to Stern Village and $3,277 to Congregate. For Stern Village, operating results have been trending in a more positive direction for the 5th straight month. Annual revenues are close to budgeted amounts despite an overall 10% vacancy rate, or twice the budgeted amount. There were no significant changes to the property's overall operating expenses, with maintenance supplies and property insurance continuing as the primary cost overruns for the year. For Congregate, operating results have trended negatively due to maintenance contracts with fire sprinkler inspection costs totaling $6,754, being the most recent. Legal continues to be the only significant budgeted overrun for the year. Revenues continue to exceed expectations, with vacancies at of historical and budgeted amount. We can see the tenants' accounts receivable below. The late. Rents have gone down significantly. You wrote off a lot of the inactive AR. And, the overall cash position of the authority, including reserve, $989,492. And you've got a snapshot of the balances below. As always, both programs have improved cash positions at the beginning of the year, and funds remain within cash management level. Village did utilize $25,000 this month from the development account for unit rehab.
Okay. Questions on the,
Congregate thing always stays the same. You give us 30,000, the balance still remains 350. It never goes down.
questions on the, financial report? Laurel, you usually have at least one.
He's
Actually,
refusing.
I emailed my question directly to, I was trying to cut down the time of the meeting, Charlene.
Aw, nice, but you made us all nervous that you were sick or something.
I thought maybe you weren't feeling well.
I have a fever. No.
Okay. Paulette, your executive director report, do you have more to add to what you stood up before and gave?
No, I just want to thank Barbara for coming for the congregate. I thank you so much, Barbara.
Barbara, you had an ambulance there today.
Yes, we did.
But so good that you were there.
She's used to ambulances though.
I'm saying it didn't rattle her.
Yeah, she doesn't panic. Okay, on to new business, the approval of the congregate rent roll.
Kath,
Which-
I'm sorry. It's Laurel. I'm sorry. Paulette, when the company reported the CNA for the congregate to us, like, 150 years ago, we were able to get them to come in for a meeting and review it with us. And it wasn't in huge detail, but it was enough detail that it was kind of helpful to maneuver through the document. Would they be willing to come in, especially since we're mostly Zooming? And if we, if we could carve out, this is, when you look at this and they're projecting $9 million needed over the next 20 years, it's like, holy smoke. So it would be really great if we could just have them come in and hit some of the high points for us. This is a huge amount of work that they're talking about.
That's no problem. I contact, John for that.
Okay. So maybe over the summer or something when we're not quite so busy, when the budget's been done and the whatever else we have to do, and, just carve out like 20 minutes or something. Maybe they could just review it for us.
No problem. No problem.
Thank you.
Okay, Paulette, I'll turn it over to you for the congregate rent roll.
She can punt it to me.
Okay, we'll turn it to Jason.
All right. That's a little bit of misunderstanding. The rent roll is, yes, technically due and needs board action, but is a part of the budget. So we can't submit, and it doesn't take a required board action alone, but it is part of the budget. It is signed off on as part of the budget. I had said it is technically due May 1st, but so is the budget. I think in essence, this will get filed like May 15th-ish after our meeting. That was my comment to Paulette. That's probably how it got on the agenda. That hold on, guys, we're pushing this back because of the meeting. Just know that DOH needs it specifically to make sure that they get the rent increases. We asked for an extension last year. It's pretty typical. I just want to make sure you guys all knew that there is, I guess what a delay we might factor in, especially if we get beyond, if they can't turn it around in 2 weeks. Because the way it goes is, right, DOH wants it on May 1st, so they get a full 30 days to review to make sure that you have it by June 1st to get your notices out to the residents so that they get their 30-day notice of any increase. Any delay in that pushes back the timeline, right? Because you can't increase rents without a 30-day notice. So that this change in the budget meeting does have this little bit of impact. And that's what I had said to Paulette, and I think she misunderstood by saying some sort of rent roll needed to be approved today. No, if
What-
anything, it would have been the entire budget, but
Once I noticed, on the DOH, it said, the rent roll will be approved by May 1st. I just want to make sure that we don't out of compliance with DOH. That's why. I approached
So
you
are we
guys.
asking for an extension on approving the rent roll?
on approving on submitting the budget. Yes.
All right, so we're
Which
asking.
in
for an
turn includes the
extension.
rent roll.
All right, so May 11th is really late for us to be meeting on the
It's not, I
budget.
mean, we went even later last year, not that I suggest that. It's not really late, but it's in May, so I guess it's technically late.
So then we'd approve a budget on May 11th. It'd go to HUD. And then 30 days from that is a rent increase?
30 days between as quickly as they can turn it around to us.
Okay,
So if it's delayed and they can't review it within, either they have too many questions, they don't, I wouldn't know that answer.
when is the rent increase supposed to take effect? Given a
July
perfect
1st.
July
So-
1st.
So July 1st, you back up 30 days. So we need both CHFA and DOH approval by June 1st.
In
I
order to
don't
send the
have
letter.
too many concerns with CHFA because there's no funding involved. Although I guess it is mentor. I shouldn't say that on a live call. He's pretty particular. The DOH though, because there are subsidy involved, there's actual funds, a grant from the state. They have their checklist that they will need to go through. And it's a full package that we have to make sure we're ready and put together. Hint, hint, Paulette, with all the stuff, the resolution, the minutes from the meetings, all that stuff has to be ready to go. It's more than just the budget.
So while I have everybody on, I guess we're gonna meet May 11th in the community room. Would we say 10 o'clock? To do this. Charlene unfortunately will be in Norway, so she will not be joining us. You're gonna miss it all, Charlene.
Bummer. Maybe I'll rethink my vacation.
I think you should. I think you should.
There's always Zoom.
No, they don't allow. Zoom is prohibited in Norway. Yeah, it's illegal.
I don't even know what time it would be.
6 hours, I
But
think.
it could be a timing issue,
Dawn be in Norway herself, and so maybe you can meet up with her, Charlene, in Norway.
No way. Dawn's gonna be in Norway?
Yeah.
Yes.
Cool. I'll email you separately, Dawn.
And also, Maureen won't be here this year at the Sunshine State, Florida. So she won't be here.
Okay, so then I need to make sure Sarah, Laurel, and I can make it.
Yeah.
All right. If we have to vote, yes. All right. Okay, is there any old business? We do not need an executive session tonight. That situation has resolved itself. And nobody for public comments? I saw somebody had come in.
Yeah, they left.
We're just so exciting. Anything else? We good? Charlene, you're on.
I make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Maureen seconded. By unanimous consent, we are done and still light outside.
Wow.
Everybody enjoy your vacations.
Thanks.
Yes. Thank you, everybody, and save May 11th for our little powwow. And I will post an agenda and notice a meeting for May 11th.
Schedule a meeting or no?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good night.